This is the video for our first day of online in Intro to Computers. And this will be the stuff in column 2. The stuff we do in class will be in column 1 all of the time. And then we'll have some interesting stuff over here on the right. So this course, if we click on this link here, it meets the information technology requirement for graduation. The actual requirement is pretty vague. But these are the 5 things that it includes. So we will cover all of those things in here, and it does meet the graduation requirement. If you'd like to find out a little more specifically than those 5 kind of vague things, here is a list of the objectives. We're going to spend most of our time in here on spreadsheet skills. If you'd like to see what we're going to be doing in terms of spreadsheets, here is a list with all of the specific skills. Let's go back to our home page. The software we'll be using in this class is available on all of the Briarcliff computers in the computer lab and any other public computers that are available at Briarcliff in the library. I think there's some over in Stark. There's another small computer lab on first floor of Heelan. And as a Briarcliff student, you are entitled to have a free copy of Office as long as you're a student at Briarcliff. And here is the link that you go to get it. There is a Macintosh version and there is a Windows version. It will give you all of these applications. The ones that we will be using primarily will be these first 3, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Excel is what we'll be doing in class when we meet. Word and PowerPoint are a little bit easier than Excel, and those will be the things that you do on your own outside of class. You also have access to OneDrive, which lets you save your documents in the cloud. So the good thing about that is you don't have to be sitting in front of a Briarcliff computer to get access to them. All you need to do is be connected to the internet someplace. We're not going to do much with OneNote or Outlook or Teams, but we will be using these other 4 apps. So when you get to this site, what you need to do is you need to sign in, either here or up here. Your sign in will be your Briarcliff email address and your Briarcliff password. And when you, let me see if we can do this here. So my Briarcliff email address is tom.klain and I'm using my Briarcliff account, and it wants to know my Briarcliff password. And you can choose yes or no here. If it's on your own personal computer, you probably want to choose yes. If it's on a Briarcliff computer, you'd probably want to choose no. So we'll go ahead and choose yes here. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to install Office, and we can just take the default here, and you should be able to, I've already got it installed, so I'm not going to go any further than this, but you should be able to just follow the prompts and get Office installed. The Macintosh and Windows version are almost identical. There are a couple of places in Word where those of you who have Macintoshes will have to do most of your work on the Macintosh, but there are just a couple of things on a couple of assignments that you will have to do on a Briarcliff computer or a Windows computer because they are slightly different in those areas. So I would strongly encourage you, if you have a Windows or Macintosh computer. Okay, I want to go back here. It's not letting me go back. Let's go this way. If you have a Macintosh or a Windows computer, I would encourage you to get Office. Just make your life easier. And notice that you get 5 or 6 copies of Office. You can install it on more than one device. So if you have multiple devices, you can install it on more than one. If you have a Chromebook, you will not be able to download Office. It only works on Windows and Macintosh machines. OneDrive is cloud storage. By default, when you save things on your Briarcliff account, if you save it to either called My Documents or Documents, it automatically should go to OneDrive. Here is a link to an article, actually a chart from an article from a couple of years ago, from the year 2015. And this is showing the results of a survey of employers in the United States, and they were comparing top skills for high growth, high wage occupations and all occupations in the United States. And there are three things up here that are especially of interest to this class. Microsoft Office is one of the top skills, Microsoft PowerPoint and Microsoft Word. Excel is not specifically mentioned, but I'll bet that's a large part of this one up here as well. And one other interesting thing, the yellow bars are for high growth, high wage positions. And the yellow bar is longer here for the high wage, high growth, and it's also longer here. Down here, it's just a little bit shorter, but almost the same, pretty close to 3%. Okay, back on the home page for the course, there is a link where you can check how secure your password is. And one of the things that you should notice about that is that long passwords are better than short passwords. There's also a link, I'll let you look at this on your own, to the worst passwords. If your password is on this list, I would strongly encourage you to change it. And this is a link to an article about multitasking and whether or not people can actually multitask. I know a lot of people think that they can do more than one thing at once, but in reality, if you try to do two things at once, you end up doing not either one of them very well. And so my advice to you is when you're studying, don't try to do two things at once. Turn your phone off, turn the TV off, and just focus on studying. And not only will you get done faster, but you'll do a better job. So you might want to check that one out. Okay, we will have a handful of free homework assignments in here. A free homework assignment is basically one that doesn't require any new skills, and everybody should be able to do it. And it's free because everybody should get 100% on it. So this is our first free homework assignment. There are only 2 grades on this. Either you do it and you get 100% on it, or you don't do it and you get a 0 on it. I would encourage you all to do it. So this is due at 6 p.m. tonight. There's a timestamp on this when you fill out the surveys. And if the timestamp is after 6 p.m., you will not get credit for it. There are 3 separate hyperlinks here. There's a computer experience survey, a word processing skills survey, and a spreadsheet skills survey. You must do all 3 of those to get credit. It's an all or none deal. And there's nothing to hand in. I will just go out online sometime after 6 o'clock tonight, and I will look and see if you've completed the assignment or not. And I will try to summarize it, and hopefully I'll have a summary by class tomorrow, and I can show you the results. Also, this is not an assignment in the sense that you get credit for it, but there is a link to the class policies for assignments and tests. This is a short Word document, and I want you to read this. Okay, and so here's the assignment opened up in Word, and it says attendance is required, and if you cut classes, your final grade may be lowered by as much as a full letter grade. Tests, we will have a handful of tests in here. You must be here on the day of the test. If you have a very serious reason for not being here, then you must contact me ahead of time and clear it with me. And if it's because you're sick, you have to be sick enough to go see the school nurse or your doctor. And if you do not clear it with me before the test, you get a 0 on the test. And if you get a 0 on the test, then you probably would be better off dropping the course. The tests are a considerable part of your grade. If you fail one test in here, if you fail one of the Excel tests anyway, the best you can possibly do is a middle C for the final grade. Homework assignments are due at 8 o'clock every morning. It will always be the next morning since we are meeting daily in this format. And the drop boxes will close. If the assignment is not in the Dropbox before it closes, it's late, you will get a 0. And if there are problems with the Dropbox, which happens from time to time, you can always email the assignment to me. Only do this if there's a problem with the Dropbox. If the Dropbox is working fine, I expect you to put it in the Dropbox. So you can email them to me as long as they are emailed before the deadline. Do not wait until 7:55 on the morning that the assignment is due. If you do, you're kind of pushing your luck, and you may not get it in on time even though you started on time, because the Dropbox may close before you get done. If you disagree with a grade, you have to be there on the day that it's returned. It'll be returned in the Dropbox on the due date, and the following class day, if you disagree with the grade, you can question it. If you do not disagree with it then you will have given up your opportunity to challenge the grade. Also, academic integrity, that's a big deal for me, and in this class, I expect you to do your own work. That does not mean you can't ask somebody else for help, but it does mean that you don't sit down with somebody else and do the work together with them. I don't consider that doing your own work, and I consider that to be a violation of Briarcliff's and academic integrity policy. And if that happens in this class, if you're found turning in work that is not your own, you will be failed for the course. That's it, period. So do your own work. Okay, so I want to make it very clear to everybody what the policies in here are. I want everybody to read this. I've gone over most of it, but I still want you to read it and make sure that you understand it. I want you to print and sign your name at the bottom and get a hard copy and bring that to class with you on Tuesday. Okay, and the other part is we've got some Windows keyboard shortcuts. I am big on learning keyboard shortcuts because they can make your life a lot easier. They can reduce the amount of time you have to spend in front of a computer. If you've always got to go use the mouse for everything, it's going to slow you down. Most of these you probably know anyway. These are ones that I use all of the time, and the neat thing about them is they're Windows keyboard shortcuts. They are not just for Word or Excel or a specific application. They are for pretty much every Windows application. So there's a help key, which is F1. Control Z is undo. That is probably the most important command to know. And Control Y, which a lot of people don't know, is redo. Then we've got cut, copy, and paste. The X kind of looks like a scissors. C stands for copy. And I always remember the V is like an insertion point where you want to insert some pasted text. B and I and U are bold and italic and underlined when you hold the control key down. Some control keys for opening and closing documents and manipulating documents. Control O for open. W to close the window. You can't use C for that because it's already used for copy. P for print, S for save, and N for new document. Control A will select all of a document. And if you want to select text, you can hold the Shift key down while you move the cursor over any text. And then we got a few more down here that are probably not as well known. They're very useful though. And to encourage you to learn these, which will make your life easier when you're on a computer, we're going to have a quiz over that tomorrow. It will begin at the beginning of class, either 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, depending on the section that you're in. And it will be 5 minutes long. It will end at 5 minutes after, so you need to be here and ready to go at the time that class begins. Otherwise, you may not have enough time to complete the quiz. Okay. Every day in class, we will do something with Excel. Online, you will have something else to do. And I will also have some links over here. And these links over here, some of them will be links to interesting websites. And I will try to have some useful software here every day as well. LastPass is probably one of the most useful programs that I have, and it's free. You can install it on a Windows computer. You can install it on a Macintosh. You can install it on your phone. And it's free. You can install it on multiple devices, and it doesn't cost you any more to put it on more than one device. And you will never have to remember a password again. It's really easy because passwords are hard to remember, to use the same password over and over and over again. And as you all know, that's not a very wise thing to do. If somebody finds your password for one of your websites, it will probably know the password for all of your websites, and so that can make you really vulnerable. So I strongly encourage you to use this. It makes it real easy to use unique passwords for every website, and it's free. So the price is perfect. So that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow.